Howdy folks, welcome to another edition of ASW Zatsudan, the show that recaps ASW because I have a head cold and at least I can edit out my coughs and sneezes. Pleased to announce that now we have 100% more background music thanks to the wonderful Cliff McConaughey, who is worth checking out. What better way to begin the show than The Rock on the mic, raring for action after his lackluster showing in the Rumble. So is his opponent Scott Hall. Rock is kind of tired of beating up the NWO. He's done it plenty in the past, and he likes a better competition. He doesn't think Scott Hall has what it takes against him. We'll find out. Scott Hall comes out, Kevin Nash in tow. Both of them pretty fired up. They didn't really like those comments, can't really blame them. Rock dominates the early goings-on, but with Kevin Nash constantly on the outside, he's having some trouble really pulling away with the match. Nash keeps inserting himself, and finally Rock has had enough of that. He goes to the referee and asks permission to just go ahead and make it a handicap match. Little bit ambitious, outsiders together, but ref is going to allow it, so now it's a handicap match. I did tell you this was going to be a little bit like WCW. So, now as The Rock versus the Outsiders, Rock's still holding his own. Even as a handicap match, Rock is still able to hold his own, taking them both down, gets Nash down, 1, 2, 2.99, not quite enough. Scott Hall makes the save. Eventually though, the numbers game is a little bit too much for Rock. They keep tagging in and out, they keep double teaming. Even Rock is going to have some trouble with that. Nash eventually gets him with the powerbomb, thus winning a match that he was not initially involved in. I did warn you that this Fed was going to remind you of WCW. After the match, they got the spray paint out, and they spray paint the NWO logo on Rock's back, despite being the only two NWO members in this federation. Rock really having a rough time of it, but this one he kind of brought on himself a little bit. Next up, our first ever tag team match as the Steiner brothers take on the Lucha Bros, two teams that impressed me most in the Rumble, battling out to set the tone for the entire tag division going forward. This one was a wild one. Rey Fenix really sassing it up today. He got into an argument with some fans at ringside. He got a cheap shot with a kendo stick on Scott Steiner. It was a wild one. Both of them just kind of threw the rulebook out the window. Wild brawl, low blows from both sides, weapon shots both sides, all four guys in the ring. It was kind of madhouse. Ref having a lot of trouble keeping the match under control, but eventually we get it down to the two legal men. Hot tag to Rey Fenix, takes down Scott Steiner, springboard 450. Big win for the Lucha Bros right here. Wild one. Steiner brothers grab the mic after the match. They want to go again. Could happen. Could indeed happen. The Lucha Bros pretty confident with winning round one though. Next up, Kofi Kingston, Arn Anderson in action, both getting a bit of a chance to redeem their somewhat questionable Rumble losses and retain some of their momentum from their strong performances. Kofi Kingston gets to cut a promo in advance of his match with Arn Anderson. He talks about recapturing some of the fire he's lost in recent years. He's happy to be in ASW. He's really happy with his performance in the Royal Rumble. Couldn't quite get it done. Got eliminated in somewhat shady circumstances with the assistance of Miss Liz. But he showed us a lot in that Rumble, and he's going to keep showing us a lot until he stands at the top of the heap. Arn Anderson comes out early for the match, cutting off the promo. He's still pretty upset. CM Punk got him from behind towards the end, got him out before he could really do that much. Arn Anderson calls CM Punk a coward and says the rest of the locker room is lucky that Punk took him out like that. He thinks he's entitled to a world title shot, and he also thinks he could beat up everybody till he gets there anyway. We'll see. Kofi versus Arn right here. Arn is just a house of fire today. He's just really mean, really upset. He's always mean. He's even meaner today. He is able to fight on his own terms. He gets Kofi grounded early on, and it's just a brawl that absolutely favors Arn Anderson. There are not many people who could just brawl and mat wrestle and keep up with Arn. Certainly not the high-flying Kofi. Arn really taking it to Kofi in the early stages. Kofi's speed gets him out of a couple predicaments, but he's having a lot of trouble getting it momentum going. Aren't able to toss Kofi out of the ring, sending him flying into the barricade. Kofi is able to get up, climbs up with the apron, goes for a springboard plancha, but Arn Anderson catches him out of midair, Hits the spine buster. That's the 3 count. Arn Anderson, your winner. He continues his promo from earlier, running down the entire New Day actually. He says they're just a bunch of entertainers. They wouldn't have cut it in Arn's era, and they won't cut it in ASW. Harsh words for Arn Anderson for the fan favorite New Day. We'll see how that goes. Mean Gene catching up with Shawn Michaels backstage ahead of our main event for the evening. HBK seems even more flippant than usual. He's not worried about Randy Savage. He's not worried about Eddie Guerrero. He's going to be the first YouTube champion in ASW. You gotta love the confidence, but in a triple threat with 2 top-tier talents, I don't know. I'm not sure it's warranted here. But if anybody can back that up, it's probably HBK. We'll find out later tonight. Daniel Bryan going up against Kevin Nash in a formal one-on-one setting. We saw a lot of action between them in the Rumble. They cooperated a bit, they fought a lot. Nash ultimately the one to eliminate Bryan. Now they get to settle the score here. Just like our opener for the night, Scott Hall comes down to ringside with his buddy Nash and inserts himself early into the match, cutting off Bryan's momentum at several points. The fight spills out of the ring, spills all the way into the crowd. Refs are giving him a little bit of leniency. We tend to instruct the refs to give him some space. Bryan a little bit more creative of the 2 of them with the use of the crowd. He is able to maneuver around all the obstacles and use of the stairs, make use of the rails, gets the upper hand out in the crowd. They brawl all the way back into the ring. They brawl back to ringside. Bryan now in control, rolls Nash into the ring, climbs in himself, but Kevin Nash catches him, picks him up for the jackknife. Bryan slips out the back, does the reversal, gets him into a bell lock. Kevin Nash taps out. Daniel Bryan is your winner. Brie Bella at ringside. Daniel Bryan stops by for a little smooch. You gotta love that. Or maybe you don't. I won't tell you what to do. With all that, it is time for our 2 big triple threat main events of the evening. The first one being a second chance match for the NBA tournament. We got Kid Bandit, we got Willow Nightingale, and we've got Asuka. 3 very different styles, 3 very different people. All top tier talents though, if you ask me. Announcers get a little bit of time to hype it up. I'm a little annoyed with my announcers, not gonna lie. Tony Schiavone, our play-by-play guy, is a Kid Bandit fan in this match. Taz is going for the more established choice of Asuka. I noticed none of them like my girl Willow. We'll see how that goes for him. Kid Bandit, Willow Nightingale, Asuka. Willow Nightingale looks impressive early, using her size and power to her advantage over the other 2. We wind up with a lot of her and Kid Bandit fighting, Asuka kind of hanging back, picking her spots, letting them wear each other down for her. They eventually notice that. Kid Bandit, Willow Nightingale, double team on Asuka, a little bit more back and forth. Into the match comes with Willow hitting a crossbody on Asuka, Fisherman suplex on Bandit, pins Bandit 1, 2, 3, Willow Nightingale living up to my hype for her with the big win and a second chance at life in the NBA tournament. Kid Bandit not very happy. She wanted that one, but she didn't get it. That's how life goes. And finally, it is time for the triple threat for the YouTube title. Randy Savage, Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels, 3 huge stars that performed well in the Rumble, earned this spot tonight. I came out to unveil the title ahead of the match. Randy Savage apparently not too happy with my comments. All I was trying to say was that any of those 3 would make a great champion, but he doesn't think so about the other 2. Eddie Guerrero kicks things off, sneaking up behind HBK, a little bit of a neck twist, throws him into the ropes. Liz slaps the guy. Not a good start for HBK, but he comes back. Elbow to the forehead of Eddie Guerrero, but before he can get anywhere, Randy Savage inserts himself into the mix. Series of chops to HBK. I guess that made one of our fans unhappy, because some guy just kinda rushed the ring. Didn't go too well for him. He did get past the ref, I'll give him that, but he got beat down by Randy Savage. Not fun for anybody, except maybe Randy Savage. Off the distraction, HBK slingshots Eddie off the ropes, big suplex. Randy Savage adds a flying elbow as his contribution to the beatdown of Eddie Guerrero. He and HBK wind up getting in each other's faces. Eddie again able to sneak up, this time on Savage. He pulls Savage's hair from behind. HBK backs up, hits the sweet chin music, mainly on Savage, but also squishing Eddie in there a little bit. Eddie stumbles back into the corner, Shawn Michaels goes for an avalanche, but Eddie Guerrero slips out of the way. HBK rebounds off the turnbuckle into a Randy Savage suplex. HBK spent a lot of time in trouble this match. Maybe should have taken it a bit more seriously than that promo indicated. Eddie Guerrero going for the Three Amigos on HBK, but he gets out of it with some elbow shots. Goes over to hit on Miss Liz, losing a little bit of focus. Eddie points that out, and Randy Savage comes roaring in with some elbow strikes to HBK. Eddie tries to capitalize, but Savage a little bit too smart for that for once in his life. Reverses the attack into a pile driver. Pops back up, standing elbow drop on HBK. All three are down. Savage had a good chance to go for the cover, couldn't quite manage it, but he is the first one up, hits a few stomps, stacks them on top of each other, goes up top, flying elbow drop, pins both men for the three. Your YouTube champion inaugurally is the Macho Man, Randy Savage. I'd give you my best Macho Man impersonation, but my throat is killing me and nobody wants to hear that. If you want an actually good one, go listen to Slash Gallagher. He does a good one. Anyway, he gets to celebrate in the ring. He gets the mic as we're closing out. He claims that HBK and Eddie both lack the fire. They lack the heat to be the YouTube champion. He should not have said the word heat, I guess, because out comes Chavo Guerrero, and if Chavo gets a shot, he would be happy to show Randy Savage what Latino heat means. Heel versus heel stare down as we go off the air. That is our show for the evening. So that'll about do it for episode 2 of Zatsudan, a little bit closer to what the show will be like on most weeks. Next week we've already got a good card set up for you. We will open with Slash Gallagher in action against Larry Sweeney, both getting a bit more chance to show us what they could do. We'll catch up with CM Punk, because he sure couldn't be bothered to show up at the arena. The Outsiders will be up in tag action. The NBA tournament will roll on with the semifinals. Willow Nightingale, having won her way back into the bracket, will get her chance for revenge at Trish Stratus. And we'll also see Kairi Hojo taking on Becky Lynch. One of those 4 women is gonna go on to be our first No Boys Allowed champion. We will narrow the field next week. Our main event, however, is going to be the tag titles on the line. After careful deliberation, I decide I am going to give the Steiner brothers their rematch. It's going to be the Steiner brothers and the Lucha Bros one more time, this time with gold on the line. It was a good match last time. I think it'll be another good match this time now that they have each other scouted. That's what we got coming up, and I hope to see you all there. Thanks for watching. We will see you next week.